So welcome to our lesson for today. So remember last time we talked about how Daniel went to the king and told him what his dream was about, and also told him what the king's dream meant. So the dream was a statue. The king had seen a statue with a head of gold, a neck of silver, a waist of bronze, legs of iron, and feet made of iron and clay. And a rock came and hit the feet and destroyed the entire statue until it turned into dust, and then the dust was blown away, and the whole of the statue disappeared. And then the rock grew bigger and bigger and bigger. And Daniel told him, the statue represents all of the empires, and you are the one at the top. But the stone represents the empire that God is going to raise up. It's going to destroy all others and grow bigger and bigger and bigger and be more powerful. So now let's see what happens after the king hears what his dream meant.
The king never forgot about the statue and never forgot about what he saw in his dream. So he thought and thought and thought, and he liked the idea of building a statue for everyone to see.
Yes, so he decided, I'm going to build a statue. Then he decided my statue is going to be made of gold from head to toe. The whole of the outside of the statue is going to be made of gold. And it's going to be enormous, meaning it's going to be huge. It's going to be bigger than every other statue ever. It's going to be built outside of Babylon, the city, in an open space so that everyone can come and worship it. And then it's going to be 50 times taller than any man. Imagine 15 of the tallest men, one standing on top of the other one, on top of the other one, on top of the other one. That's how tall the statue was going to be. And because it will be made of gold, it would shine under the sun. So that is the statue the king wanted to build.
The king invited all of his important people, and crowds of ordinary citizens were also invited, and the empire was to unite together and worship this image that the king wanted to build.
Yeah. Then when the statue was built and all of the people were gathered, an announcer came and said, you are about to hear the sound of trumpets and harps and oboes and sithers and all other musical instruments. When you hear this sound, you are to fall on your faces to the ground and worship this statue. If you don't, then you will be thrown into a burning furnace where there is fire and fire and fire, and you are going to burn them.
When the people heard this, they were quiet and they didn't speak. And when the trumpet sounded, everyone fell to their face and bowed down and worshipped this image, except for 3 people, which was Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Remember, these were Daniel's friends.
Yes.
They did not bow to this image. They stood upright and they stood firmly, and they refused to worship this image. They chose to remain true to their God and worship God alone.
Yes. So children, next time we'll see what happens to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego after they decided not to worship this image. But what we learn from this story is, 1, we should always remember God's commands. Just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego remembered that they are supposed to worship God only and they are never supposed to worship idols. The same thing for us. In the 10 Commandments we're told, worship God alone and do not worship idols. And then 2nd, we also learn that King Nebuchadnezzar never learned his lesson. He saw the statue and Daniel told him, this means the rock will come and destroy all other kingdoms because God's empire is the strongest. But he refused to listen, and he made a statue so that it can be worshipped instead of people worshiping God. So now it's time for us to sing our song. So everyone stand up and help us sing this song. Okay, kids, we've just talked about how King Nebuchadnezzar decided to build his own statue made of gold and to force everyone to worship it. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego decided they would only worship God and they would not bow down before the idol, which is what we need to do. So now we're gonna sing a song that says, "What a mighty God we serve," and that we should only bow down before Him because He is mighty. So let's stand up and help us sing this song. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. Angels bow before Him, heaven and earth adore Him. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. Angels bow before Him, heaven and earth adore Him. What a mighty God we serve. Mighty God. What a mighty God. Mighty God. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. Angels bow before Him, heaven and earth adore Him. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. What a mighty God we serve. Angels bow before Him, heaven and earth adore Him. What a mighty God we serve. Mighty God. What a mighty God. Mighty God. What a mighty God we serve. Yeah!
Welcome to our craft for today. Our craft comes from the book of Daniel chapter 3, and we remember that King Nebuchadnezzar decided to build himself a statue of gold. So we've cut out paper to represent the statue, and we are going to color it using yellow, and we will just be using yellow all through as we color. So after coloring, we're going to stick the giant on the paper. And you're going to leave room to write our verse for the day.
Okay, so once you've stuck down your golden statue, and I hope you've colored the statue gold, make sure it's yellow over yellow over yellow, so we have our golden statue. And once you've stuck down your golden statue, I want you to take your pen and write Daniel chapter 3. So our story today comes from the book of Daniel chapter 3. And what do we learn? We learn that just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, we need to always choose to obey God because they obeyed God's commandments and refused to worship the idols. So at the top you'll write, always choose to obey God's commandments. Just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Always choose to obey God's commandments, just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Do not worship idols. Okay, so whenever we look at this picture of ours, we'll remember that we need to always choose to obey God's commandments, just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and that we should never worship idols. So this has been our craft for today, and this also has been our story for today. And next time we'll see what happens to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego after they refuse to bow down to the statue. But until then, bye.